What's good, YouTube? This is the final part of the little No Limit Chicago's Deadliest Gang little documentary. I ain't gonna lie to y'all niggas. I tried to record this shit twice, bro. Audio was fucked up both times, so if it's like I halfway through it and it's like my fault doing my fantasy draft. If it's like, oh shit, why this nigga not reacting? This nigga just killed 12 people. It's cause I heard it already. Deal with it. Nah, but if y'all don't want to watch from here, I understand. Go watch the other parts though. But yeah, let's get into this shit.
Commenting on that case.
Ultimately, despite claims
Make sure everything's good. Yeah, look like it.
And Lil Wet will be a free man once again. Now, for the record, many believe that there is perhaps much more to the story, and if police truly didn't have enough evidence to convict Lil Wet, then surely someone else must have done the crime. But regardless of who you believe was truly responsible, Lil Wet would return home free of any consequence at all. And naturally, off the back of the sheer scale of the crime that he was accused of, he would become a mythical figure in the history of No Limit, with endless speculation over whether or not he was responsible for these 4 brutal murders. But unfortunately for No Limit, while Lil Wet was in jail, they would end up losing another one of their members, the one possibly with the most feared reputation of all, Mad Max. With the war raging between No Limit and their various ops, from Lakeside, Black Mob, and Pocket Town, it was only inevitable that eventually the most feared and famous members of the gang would eventually lose their lives too. Around a year after the murder of Shooter Shells, one of the most feared hitters from Black Mob, Mad Max, aka C-Money, aka Killer Chris, who had allegedly played a role in an incomprehensible amount of killings, as many as 13 by some estimates, would end up this time on the other side of the gun, losing his own life. On August 3, 2018, Mad Max is located by his enemies whilst moving into his mother's apartment around 3 p.m. on the 7600 block of South Kingston. Here he's chased down and shot once in the body and once in the arm. He was found slumped in the courtyard of an apartment complex and taken to hospital, with the news initially reporting simply that a man had been shot in the arm. The news would describe his situation in the hospital as stable, but sadly he was far from it. Mad Max, real name Christopher Jackson, would fight for his life in hospital for exactly a month, eventually being pronounced dead on the 3rd of September. But to make matters even more crazy, after his death, the police would claim that a heavily medicated Mad Max would give a videotaped deathbed confession naming his killer as Hell Rel, real name Terrell Webb, a senior member from Lakeside, with a screenshot of the supposed recorded confession later being circulated by Hell Rel himself, who would label Max as a snitch. However, the cops also claimed to have another cooperating witness and surveillance footage pinning the crime on Rel. And based on their suspicions, cops would initially arrest Hell Rel, catching him with a gun that matched the shell casings found at the scene of Max's murder. But for some reason, he was released without charge at the time, perhaps because Mad Max was still alive at that point. But then, 11 days after the killing, an attempted murder warrant was issued, and Hell Rel would flee, eventually being tracked down in Iowa and arrested on August the 28th, being held in custody for a few days until Mad Max died in hospital and the charges were upgraded to full-blown murder. And a video would even circulate online showing Hell Rel react in the interview room the moment detectives told him that his charges would be upgraded to murder.
Done, a gunshot residue kit was done on you.
Yes, sir.
Ballistics test was done on the gun and the recovered shell casing from the scene. Since then, we've gotten all those results back.
Yes, sir.
Also, since then, little Chris has died on September 3rd. So now this has become a homicide investigation. So, Detective Carlson here is going to read you your Miranda rights.
For the gun or homicide?
For a homicide, you said.
Yeah, this is now a homicide investigation.
So, we'll read your rights.
Hold on.
1 second?
Hold on.
Well, before we talk to you, say anything, I need to read you your Miranda rights.
Okay.
Terrell Webb would face murder charges for the killing of Chris Jackson, with the case even being discussed on CBS News as the killing of Mad Max had taken place on Chicago's deadliest weekend of 2018.
Nearly 2 months, but Chicago police have filed their first murder charge stemming from the deadliest weekend Chicago has seen this year. 27-year-old Terrell Webb is accused of shooting and killing a rival gang member. He was charged after a deathbed statement It was one of more than a dozen murders the first weekend in August.
Hellrail would post on social media from jail expressing his frustration at facing 45 to life as a result of being snitched on by a man who had supposedly killed many people. He would eventually share messages suggesting that his lawyer has the tape of Mad Max confessing and that he would eventually reveal it to the world. But Hellrail would also eventually be released, with the police citing a lack of evidence, much to the delight of surviving KTS members who circulated a statement from Hellrail branding Mad Max as a snitch. Hellrail would also diss Mad Max on Instagram, showing off a t-shirt reading 150k and a picture of Max holding money, with a caption saying that's the last time he'll touch any money. With this t-shirt apparently being made specially for the music video for his song Self-Explanatory, where he naturally dissed Mad Max extensively. And eventually Hellrail himself would even elaborate on the situation in detail in an extended interview with Chris Barnes, saying that he's innocent and that he believed racism played a role in him being accused.
I ain't do that shit to blood, man. For real, I'm finna take some time on that shit. Not cause I did, I'm all that. I didn't do it. I mean, for however much anybody want me to have done it. But I'm a black man, man. I done been locked up several times, man. I know I ain't do it. I know I could beat the shit. I know I could beat the shit, but it's still, I'm scared. I'm a young black nigga, you know what I'm saying? And then every time you pick the jury or the judge, always white, no matter what, you know what I'm saying? That's against me. Then you pick a jury, they always white or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it just the probability. I don't like the probability. I ain't you know what I'm saying? And even though I ain't do it, like, you know, God got me, man.
In the end, Hellrail would end up being sentenced to 10 years for involuntary manslaughter in the case of Mad Max. Either way you look at it, No Limit's top killer had been taken out of action. This was a devastating loss, and surviving No Limit members would mourn Max's death incredibly hard. Herbo and other affiliates were seen at his funeral, shedding a tear as they saw off their No Limit brother, and posing for pictures in front of his headstone. In fact, several people would do the KTS pose, with a hand over their mouth and gun fingers to their head, next to Max's grave, an apparent reference to Max having allegedly played a role in killing KTS Vaughn. After his death, various No Limit members posted on social media memorializing the loss of Mad Max, as well as bragging about the many murders that he had supposedly committed. And following his funeral, No Limit members even paid for a plane to fly over Terrortown, holding a banner that says "See Money, NLMB for life." Herbo would later release a song called Standing in the Rain, Mad Max, dedicated to his friend, as well as other songs where Herbo appeared to brag about the sheer number of kills that Mad Max had racked up in the streets. But naturally, many on the opposite side of the beef in Terrortown were delighted at the news that No Limit had lost their most feared shooter. KTS members continued to drop disrespectful songs like KTS Prince, who released the track Cappin' while Mad Max was still in the hospital, a music video that included a sequence where they counted down from 150 for each dead op No Limit had lost. Lil Don from KTS did an IG live mocking Mad Max after he died, but he also admitted that everyone from the other side was scared of Max because of how many people he'd allegedly killed.
That nigga a rat. Y'all talking about Max. Don't get me started on my boy, folks. That nigga told. That nigga dead and gone. And he told. That nigga was doing all that shit out here and you told on the nigga, boy. You getting up on all these niggas and motherfucker get up on that ass and you tell. When Max was alive, folk, when we was getting it on, like, you know, when shit like that was popping off back then, it's tough. Like, you know, them tough niggas, folk, just think they too damn tough. Oh, I could kill anybody, folk. Them be the main ones dying, folk. And look what happened to him. And look what he did. He told on the nigga, folk.
Sadly, with Mad Max gone, No Limit members would continue to see even more of their friends lose their lives. And in one of the most tragic and unexpected turns in this story, one of the most talented people to ever enter No Limit's orbit would soon lose their life too, under tragic and suspicious circumstances. By 2016, Lil Bibby had already had an exceptional solo career. His Free Crack mixtape series had cemented him as a Chicago drill legend. Tracks like Can't Trust a Soul, You Ain't Gang, and Thought It Was a Drought racked up millions of YouTube views and streams. Everything seemed like it was going in the right direction for Lil Bibby as a rapper. But even before dropping a debut album, in 2017, he would abruptly retire from the rap game, quitting recording himself for the foreseeable future, choosing instead to go the executive route. And Bibby would later reveal in a DJ Vlad interview that the financial instability of the rap game pushed him to move into the industry to make more money. And
nigga, we need music.
That he went broke doing music as a rapper, at which point he decided to get to the money his own way on the business side of rap.
I kind of took a little time off of music. I went broke before, Vanessa, and I took some time off like, okay, I need to learn what to do with money. I'm young, I got a great ear, great eye for talent, and I don't need these old people telling me what to do and how to do it.
So Bibby worked out that the real money wasn't in being a rapper, but the behind-the-scenes business of the record labels themselves who would find and support rappers. But Bibby would need a vehicle to get to this money, and so alongside his brother G-Money, founding the record label Grade A Productions, with Bibby and G-Money having a phenomenal stroke of luck, with the first artist they discovered being future emo rap sensation Juice WRLD. With G-Money apparently playing to Bibby Juice's early track All Girls Are the Same, which piqued his interest, but apparently when Bibby heard Juice WRLD's flagship hit Lucid Dreams, he knew immediately that this was the best song that he had heard in 10 years.
My brother, he brought Juice to me, and he played me the song All Girls the Same, and I was like, all right, that's a good song. And then he sent over some YouTube links, and I heard Lucid Dreams. When I heard Lucid Dreams, I'm like, oh, now this is like probably the best song that I heard in about 10 years. So that's when I really knew, and I kind of like, okay, we gotta go.
Story goes that once Bibby got involved in his career, Juice WRLD went straight to the top, with a Lyrical Lemonade music video for Lucid Dreams quickly blowing Juice WRLD up to superstar status. And so after bringing Juice into his own record label and getting his career going, Bibby would apparently oversee Juice WRLD, signing a bigger deal to the major record label Interscope in a huge $3 million deal. Bibby would go on to play a role in the creation and release of Juice WRLD's debut album, Goodbye and Good Riddance, releasing in May 2018, and his follow-up Death Race for Love, which came out in March 2019. It would seem that Bibby would fiercely defend Juice WRLD and his legacy at all costs. In fact, Bibby was even once seen pressuring a man who he caught selling fake Juice WRLD merch on the street.
How much? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see it, man. The fuck? Shit, goofy. Come here, man. Come here. How many more you got? Come here. Oh, goofy,
And according to Bibby, throughout his career, Juice was loyal to him and remained close.
Yeah, he was with me, you know, because everything I put together, everything that I said was gonna happen. Bro, it happened.
Starting to happen, yeah.
But it wasn't just Bibby that Juice would get close to. Over the course of his rise and run at the top of the rap game, Juice WRLD would be seen regularly with gang ties.
No, hold on, nigga. Huh? Nigga, is that Brandon Ingram? And how tall is this nigga?
And run at the top of the rap game, Juice WRLD would be seen regularly with gang-tied no-limit street legends like Herbo and Cairo. No Limit members would even take Juice WRLD to
Why the nigga standing like that though?
Shooting skills, with these antics being streamed live on social media and people jumping in the comments to say that Juice's gun is about to turn somebody into shooter shells.
Juice, you finna shoot the K? Damn, folks, you going one-handed? You think you a pro? Yeah. Let me get back. One hand back.
So, despite not growing up in Terrortown, Juice WRLD would spend a lot of time with Lil Bibby and other No Limit members, eventually taking on behaviors and habits associated with membership of the gang, like throwing up the GDK hand sign, merching things on Vito, and rapping that he was smoking on Posto, the young Lakeside member that was murdered in the war with No Limit.
Smoking on Katie Peck and Posto and Mr. the Most.
At a certain point, Juice WRLD's close ties with the No Limit gangsters from Chicago eventually had other street rappers like Kodak Black hitting him up on FaceTime asking him to elaborate on his affiliations, with Juice hanging up real quick.
I'm zooling. Where you at, Adler? Hey, where you at with the gang? I'm down there from the siege. Where you at? Lock in the stew.
You know, I stay in Calabasas. I ain't gonna lie. You know, everything we do, that shit. I ain't gonna lie, bitch. You hear me?
I'm all you on your rich shit. That suburban shit. Still a street nigga.
I ain't gonna lie, bitch. You damn near should have did that album with me, but I ain't sweating it. I don't care who you do an album with.
Man, it ain't too late, man. You already know we gonna make some.
I ain't gonna lie. Just off the songs that we got together, I'm like, man, what the fuck? Who is this nigga? Why he sounds so good with me?
Man, we'll be on some 10 times platinum shit, fucking them crackers up. You already know how we coming, man.
I'm saying what you game. I ain't gonna lie. What's No Limit 150? What that is?
You just know, man. You just know.
On cheap shit, 150. That's some overeat.
Sadly, despite Juice WRLD not living the dangerous gang lifestyle that would end the lives of so many No Limit members early, Juice too would end up losing his life at an early age, but for unrelated reasons. As on the 8th of December 2019, Juice WRLD and his entourage are flying on a private G5 jet from Los Angeles back to Chicago. And this entourage includes Cairo from No Limit, who is seen with others on the jet throwing up the L's. However, trouble would soon call when the plane landed, after the authorities were tipped off about drugs and guns on the plane. Once at Chicago's Medway Airport, Juice's videographer would be caught with a gun in his camera bag, while another 2 more guns were found on the plane, with high-capacity magazines and metal-piercing bullets, and a K9 unit would eventually be deployed, leading officers to drugs in the luggage, with a whopping total of 41 vacuum-sealed bags full of cannabis being recovered, along with 6 bottles of liquid codeine cough syrup. However, the drugs and guns under the plane would be the least of their worries, because after getting off the plane, Juice WRLD, who famously had a long-running addiction to prescription pills, would begin having a seizure with blood coming out of his nose. He was given Narcan by police, but unfortunately he couldn't be saved, with Juice WRLD later being pronounced dead at hospital at 3:14 AM. His cause of death was later reported as accidental oxycodone and codeine toxicity, but as to the other drugs found on the plane, it's believed that the police were unable to link the weed to anyone specifically, and ultimately nobody ended up being charged in what appeared to be quite plainly a large interstate drug smuggling operation. This was yet another devastating loss for No Limit, and its members would publicly mourn Juice WRLD. G Herbo would later call him the greatest artist to ever live, and Cairo would post, thanking Juice WRLD for everything he'd done for him, and saying that Juice WRLD was the first person who ever took him on a private plane. For the record, there's been a lot of speculation online as to whether Juice WRLD's close ties with No Limit gang members may have been the very reason that his private jet was being used to smuggle large amounts of drugs across state lines. After all, the cops that were waiting for him at the runway were apparently from the city's gang unit, and apparently only 6 days after Juice WRLD's death, it was reported that the FBI had visited Chicago in relation to the investigation into Shooter Shells' death. Ultimately, we'll probably never really know the true degree to which Juice WRLD's affiliations with Chicago gangs contributed to his unfortunate passing. But one thing we do know for sure is that he became yet another loss for the surviving No Limit members to carry. And ironically, making more music about the pain experienced in those very streets would be exactly what G Herbo needed to take his career to the next level, as he would go on to release some of the most poignant music he had ever made. G Herbo had been going through a lot over these years. While the No Limit soldiers went through some of the hardest battles on the streets, G Herbo had become a successful rapper, moving far away from the violence of the inner city and constant danger of Terrortown gang wars. But that doesn't mean he didn't continue to struggle with the ups and downs of personal life. And clearly living in constant fear of deadly attack from gang rivals would lead him and his inner circle to continue taking risks. And unfortunately, he would face the consequences of taking those risks. On the 22nd of February 2018, G Herbo was arrested alongside 2 other people after their limo driver tipped off the police to the fact that the passengers had illegal firearms. At about 10:30 PM,
Look at how did he know?
over the limo in the first block of East Roosevelt Road in the South Loop neighborhood. Officers would find a Glock under the seat of one of the members of the entourage, with another man being found with a gym bag containing a loaded pistol and 21 rounds in a magazine. But to make matters even worse, police officers claimed to have observed G Herbo placing a gun in the seat pocket directly in front of him, with that gun found to have contained an extended clip with 30 rounds of body armor piercing bullets. In court, Herbo's lawyer pleaded with the judge that he has no violent background, no prior arrests, and a fiancée that's 8 months pregnant. Herbo would ultimately be charged with aggravated unlawful use of a weapon, being released on $25,000 bail. Herbo would later strike a deal with prosecutors, pleading guilty to 1 count of misdemeanor carrying a firearm, winding up with a sentence of just 2 years probation and a $494 fine. Herbo would later elaborate on his mindset during this period, telling Adam 22 of No Jumper that you can't expect people not to carry guns when they live in constant fear of being robbed and killed.
And I might get killed for having on a nice hoodie, a nice jacket. So if I got a gun, I ain't supposed to protect myself. I'm a bad guy, I'm a thug, I'm a gangster now. But this the life that we brought up to. And then I can't blame the person who trying to rob me for my $1,000 coat, because he can't get a job. The 30 kept me alive, you know what I'm saying? I love Chicago, I love my 30. When I got arrested for that gun, you know, people, the police and a lot of people, like, they was upset. Like, some police out to get me or whatever wanted me to be in that situation. Some people was upset that I even put myself in that situation because they knew I had to be in that situation. They know what we up against in Chicago, and they know why people got to carry firearms to protect themselves. So they like, damn, you let them people trick you. And you supposed to hire armed security, because they ain't saying nothing about me not having a gun. They know I'm supposed to have a gun on me. They know somebody will try to kill me. They know somebody will try to rob me. They know what I'm up against.
Herbo makes a good point, and it really shows the difficult situation that he was in after becoming so successful and getting away of the violence in Terrortown. Unfortunately, moving on from that charge, Herbo's career would go from strength to strength. The collaborative album Swervo with producer Southside landed him at number 15 on the chart.
Hey, if y'all made it this far, bro, if this shit's too loud,
which charted at number 41. Even if things were good,
not the mic, but the video. Let me know.
Sweet in Herbo's household.
I think the video might be a little loud though. I meant the mic.
In 2019, Herbo would be embroiled in yet another scandal, this time for accusations
Hey, y'all niggas go follow the Twitch, man.
On
I
April
ain't
the
gonna
12th,
lie.
2019, footage would surface claiming to depict a physical altercation between G Herbo and the mother of his child, Ari Fletcher, at their son's birthday party. Apparently earlier in the evening, things had seemed friendly between the two, but later footage appeared to depict a much more heated altercation outside, with Fletcher appearing to assault Herbo. Herbo would later claim that Ari Fletcher had actually stolen a large amount of his jewelry.
Man, this bitch took my fucking jewelry. Bitch, you had my jewelry since your son's 6 fucking month party at my mama house. You stole it out my mama room. I've been quiet all this time. I ain't do no insurance claim. Try to get you locked up, nothing. You told me to come to Atlanta to get my jewelry back, you lame ass bitch. You still got 300,000 worth of shit. You got all my Cubans. No, she got 300, dude. My chains.
A week after the birthday party incident, news would surface that G Herbo had actually been arrested for battery after Fletcher accused him of beating her in front of their child. Ari Fletcher would take to social media detailing her claims of abuse at the hands of G Herbo, saying he kicked down the door, had his child taken away in a car by a friend, and proceeded to trash the house and beat her severely. With Herbo's dramatic arrest on April the 17th, 2019, captured on police body cam video, later being released to the public.
What's going on?
My baby father.
Where is he?
He just left for my son.
On foot? Car?
No, he in there in a white Tahoe truck.
I'm finna talk to you. Just
Okay,
tell her
give me my kid.
give me the child. So what's going on?
I can't.
No problem.
He beat the fuck out of me. That's clear as day. My eyes hurting black. I'm beat the fuck up. Ain't no decided to win. His ass going to jail. It's over with, bitch. You done. Stupid. And bitch, I'm slapping your fat ass too for driving off in the car with my son.
Come on, go inside.
Y'all know not to play with me. Was he driving?
How'd you get all those?
Because he dragged me. He punched me in my eye. That's why my fucking happened to be black. He spit on me. Anything, the fucking worst shit you could think of, he just did to me.
What the fuck do she want from me, bro? We with different people every day.
If you want to get stuff back from her at this point, you need to go to court, take her to court.
Trying to fight wild. She wild as hell.
I know how.
She hit her own stupid ass eye. Pulling out knives and shit while I'm holding my son. I just had to run out. Literally, she charged at me with a knife while I got your son in my hand.
Huh?
Did you see the handgun? He had a massive handgun in the back of his back.
Yeah, so I don't know if they pulled it out already. We got the call about it, about the gun, so yeah.
On January the 6th, 2020, G Herbo would plead guilty to the charge of misdemeanor battery, with him being sentenced to 12 months probation, 150 hours of community service, and a family violence intervention course. But at least Herbo had accepted the situation, and in 2020, he would be attempting to move forward as a better man and better rapper. On February the 28th, 2020, he'd release his 5th album, PTSD. The project was themed around the pain and trauma that he had experienced in the streets, with a poignant cover art depicting Herbo holding a blood-soaked and bullet-holed American flag with the stars replaced by faces of friends he had sadly lost. And Herbo would explain to Hip Hop DX that this introspective album was inspired by his own experiences receiving court-ordered therapy following his 2018 arrest, with him eventually being clinically diagnosed as having PTSD, a result of all of the trauma he had witnessed and experienced in the streets. PTSD, the album, was an enormous success for G Herbo, peaking at number 7 on the Billboard 200, his best album performance to date and his first top 10, with the lead single from the album also called PTSD, a star-studded cut featuring the likes of Chance the Rapper, Lil Uzi Vert, and a posthumous appearance from Juice WRLD, would earn Herbo his first Billboard entry for a single song on the Hot 100 charts, coming in at number 38. And in a further commitment to the themes of self-reflection on this album, in July 2020, Herbo would announce that he was launching an initiative called Swerving Through Stress, aiming to help young black people access therapy. Clearly Herbo was learning from his past, and the self-reflection of therapy appeared to be a positive influence on his life. But likely another positive aspect was distancing himself from the people and situations that had brought about all this trauma to begin with Herbo later telling Adam 22 that he had to cut people off and distance himself from those people to get away from the streets, suggesting that he is just too tempted to get involved when they phone him looking for help, so he just stopped answering.
There's a lot of people are kind of stuck in this like prison of who they're around, and they feel like they can't break away from that.
So I didn't get into it with my best of friends when I wasn't in the streets, because I'm loyal to a fault. A phone call, just something as simple as a phone call, could pull me right back into that environment. So I had to cut ties completely. Right. You know how hard that was for me.
Despite Herbo's claims of improving his inner circle, this wouldn't end up being completely successful. And by the end of 2020, he would find himself in legal hot water once again. Apparently, the direct result of the company he was keeping. Because in December 2020, G Herbo was charged as part of a $1.5 million fraud scheme, with him and 5 members of his entourage accused of using stolen credit cards and IDs to fund a luxurious lifestyle, including spending on private jets, expensive vacation, and even the purchase of designer puppies, apparently totaling a theft of $1.5 million over the course of 4 years. Herbo will be charged with 14 counts of aggravated identity theft and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. But from there, matters would only get worse, as in May 2021, Herbo would be charged with additional counts of making false statements to a federal agent, with Herbo allegedly lying, saying that he didn't know promoter Antonio Strong, despite evidence allegedly proving that Strong had paid for multiple private flights, luxury hotels, and exotic car rentals as part of the fraud. For the record, G Herbo has pled not guilty to these charges in mid-2021, and despite things not looking good, this situation is still unresolved. Herbo would appear to deny being fraudulent in lyrics on his song Statement, a song that actually came from his latest full-length release, his album 25, which is a great piece of work and is crammed full of insights into the war in Terrortown, particularly his relationship and past with No Limit top shooter Mad Max, with G Herbo rapping on the song 2 Chainz that Max was killing people and didn't know how to stop, with Herbo going on to say that now he's a millionaire, he doesn't need to kill people anymore, as well as one of my favourite songs of G Herbo's entire catalogue, Drill featuring Rowdy Rebel, where Herbo compared Mad Max's killing ability in the streets with playing the video game Call of Duty, suggesting that Mad Max had 50 kills. His 6th album 25 was a massive success, breaking his previous chart record for PTSD, earning Herbo his first top 5 album on the Billboard 200. Add that to the fact that at the end of 2021, Herbo would appear on the all-star remix to the street anthem Who Wants Smoke by Nardo Wick alongside Lil Durk and 21 Savage, landing Herbo his highest entry on the Billboard Hot 100, with the song coming in at number 17. Ultimately, G Herbo did escape the streets, getting fame and fortune and the possibility of escaping the danger of Terrortown with his life intact, an outcome that so many of his friends would not be fortunate enough to have. But whilst Herbo was living it up as a successful rapper, many of those friends who he left behind would grow bitter and resentful against him for not doing more to use his newfound success to help them out. But with Herbo's help or not, one thing's for sure, back in Terrortown, there would be no respite for those gang members still left behind there, constantly battling for control of the streets and survival. And so in 2021, we would see the killing of possibly the last big name associated with this long-running war, because after years of trying, somebody would finally end up taking the life of high-profile Lakeside member KTS Dre.
I think this is where I stopped at.
Back in October 2018, surviving rivals in the ongoing war in Terrortown, No Limit Cairo and KTS Dre would go live together on Instagram, beefing each other face to face for the whole world to see.
What let me see. He talking about cut though. Oh, I don't know how we. I'm gonna keep it on. What you on, hey, bro? Man. What's up, little niggas? I've been. Why you steady whooping at me, bro? No, man, what you on, little bro, man? Why you on here capping, man, like this, man? Why you playing on here like this, man?
Cairo would ask Dre who's there with him, with Dre showing him a whole bunch of guns, causing Cairo to quickly hang up.
Hey, who is that? Who is that on the side? Hey, I'm finna hang up, folks, because you got niggas looking at me, folks. I'm finna hang up because you got niggas looking at me, folks. You got niggas looking at me, I'm finna hang up. Nah, I ain't coming like that, that's because they scared. You got niggas peep. I want to see their face. Let me see their face. They don't want to see nothing. See what? See what? I want to see their face. I don't got nothing for them to see. Watch out, folks. I don't got nothing. He going to front of his shit, folks. Yeah, he up and guns. He ain't no street nigga, bro.
Cairo would go on to say that all of Dre's new people around him are new, and that he doesn't have any beef with them.
He's talking about, man, who you with? I can't even tell you all that. I would ask you who you with, but I know your ass hang with all new niggas that you trying to recruit. Them niggas straight bitches, folks. Them ain't even real ops. Them niggas ain't in tour with us, folks. They feel important right now. We don't even know they goof ass. Y'all ass had somewhere.
Cairo goes on to say that KTS Dre is scared of Lil Jon, who is apparently the realist in Lakeside. Cairo then brings another No Limit member by the name of Magic into his life, with him asking who even is KTS Von whilst getting a haircut.
They on my shit tweaking, folks.
What folk know say they at?
They tripping, folks.
You already just took your money last time.
They ass tweaking, gang. I came from flying legit. What up, niggas
What
at?
the fuck, you getting a cut? You finna get a cut?
Yeah, bro.
Who that cutting your shit? Man, don't let that nigga fuck you up.
Cairo would go on to explain that he would rather settle things in the DMs with Dre, saying that Dre is still on house arrest and suggesting that he would beat him up.
He steady on my shit about you niggas hoes. Oh, I don't want to argue with you, folks. Can you please DM me so we can talk, folks, regularly like we always do, folks? Cause I don't want to argue with you, bro. I hate arguing with the ops. He just put up some shit talking about he on house arrest, so you just stop talking. You get off my shit.
He all that do is put his shit in the car.
Ain't no shit to good ass. I'll beat the fuck out.
Cairo would then joke that Dre is scared of the ops.
I'm finna get off this line, for the ops scaring me, fuck. They scaring the fuck out of me.
But the whole time that Cairo was talking, Dre would be in the comments suggesting No Limit are a bunch of hoes.
Hell no. He said no cap, y'all some hoes. Bro, we some bitches, bro. That's what you want to hear? We some bitches.
Apparently, Dre would also comment that he doesn't recognize Magic from No Limit, saying that he's a new person too, much to the amusement of Cairo.
He talking about who is Magic, what he do? Yeah. Don't worry about who that is, man. All them new ass niggas you hang with.
Dre would reply saying that people that he's around are the original cutthroats, with Cairo eventually admitting that beefing the ops on IG is so 2014 and he's only doing it because he likes Dre.
Please say less. You putting on the show, folks, on this Instagram shit, bro. That shit ain't even what's up. That's some shit we was doing in 2014, going live with each other and shit like that. I really ain't on that no more. I just did that because I like you. I really ain't on that no more, folks, going live with the ops and shit. And doing all that goofy shit. I just did that because I still like you a little bit. We can talk regular, folks. We got too grown for that shit. It's too many police shit watching. Then something happen, they gonna be, they was arguing on Instagram and all that dick sucking ass shit. There's too much police shit going on Instagram. You steady want to woof on this shit. They ain't even where it's at, folks.
In a way, Cairo was right. So much time had passed since their run-in at McDonald's, it makes you wonder why they would even still go back and forth. But of course, despite a lot of time passing, the beef between Lakeside and No Limit had continued raging, with lives continuing to be lost on both sides, and in 2019, there would be a violent exchange between members of No Limit and a terrifying set of new enemies with family ties to Lakeside called Death Row. Yes, that is an AK-47 on the right. On August the 11th, Mook, real name Malcolm Sabs from Death Row, is standing on a sidewalk on the 8600 block of South Exchange Avenue when at 1:35 AM, a group of men approached him on foot opening fire. He was struck in the head and later pronounced dead. And then the following day on August the 12th, Willie from No Limit is targeted in what appears to be pronounced dead. And then the following day approached him on foot opening fire. He was struck in the head and later pronounced dead. And then the following day on August the 12th, Willie from No Limit is targeted in what appears to be a retaliatory attack. The 18-year-old, real name Willie Washington, was standing on the sidewalk at the 7800 block of South Phillips Avenue. When a car pulled up, two people jumped out, shooting him multiple times, jumping back in the vehicle and driving off. He was shot in the back of the head and the body, being pronounced dead by 8:52 AM. But much like the other senseless killings that we've seen in the Chicago gang wars, Willie's body would lay in the street for an extended period of time, during which time members of the public were able to take a picture with the grisly photo of Willie laying face down in the street circulating on social media, but I won't show you. Sadly, the violence wasn't over yet, because only 2 days after that, apparently the cousin of Mad Max,
Didn't nigga say sadly I won't show you here?
Circulating on social media, but I won't show you here. Sadly, the violence wasn't over yet, because only 2 days after that, apparently the cousin of Mad Max, Magic from No Limit, the same person who had been on that FaceTime call with Cairo after he hung up on KTS Dre was standing next to a car on the 7800 block of South Essex Avenue, only one block over from where Willie had been killed, when a dark-coloured vehicle drove by with someone inside opening fire on the group of people standing by the car. Magic, real name Kenneth Summers, would be struck in the head, later being pronounced dead in hospital. This is just one of the latest devastating losses for No Limit. Meanwhile, one of their most despised rivals, KTS Dre, would catch a charge himself, ending up in jail for a short time. But by December of 2020, he would be back home, going live on social media, telling people that he didn't want to leave the city of Chicago, and saying that he's still shooting his ops whilst fighting court cases.
Man, I ain't gonna be nowhere but in Iraq, nigga. I'm over east, nigga, Mo Block soldier, nigga. We ain't shooting from no car, we just trying to get closer, nigga. Talking about, am I in Iraq, nigga? Nigga, I just had court, nigga, in Cook County today, nigga. Fuck you talking about. Bro, you need to leave the city, unless they gonna get you.
Dre then tells his ops to come and kill him because he's tired of them threatening him.
Sooner or later. Sooner then, nigga. Sooner than later, y'all. I'm tired of this shit. Come take me out this shit, cause I can't take it no more. Y'all be pissing me off with that shit. Y'all been threatening me for 20 years, bro. It's y'all bitch ass on.
He also denied even knowing who Cairo was when somebody brought up the McDonald's video.
Explain the video of you punching Cairo. Who the fuck is Cairo, bro? Who the fuck is that? Cairo, where you from?
KTS Dre clearly had No Limit on his mind during this period. That month, he also released the song NLMBK Part 2 alongside KTS Rio, which had lyrics seemingly aimed at G Herbo, saying that he's still on the block, unlike these rappers who only act gangster. And from here, he would continue talking openly on social media about his enemies, on February 5th, 2021, going live to speak on Lil Wet from No Limit and the alleged killing of 4 men after his father's death, with KTS Dre suggesting that all of the men killed were innocent and had nothing to do with killing his father Big Wet.
Over there, only smoke, fuck No Limit, nigga. Fuck the whole No Limit, nigga. Go cry, nigga. Fuck you talking about, nigga. Mad Max died of rat, nigga. On Vaughn, nigga. Mad Max died of mad rat, nigga. Look it up, nigga. Fuck you talking about, nigga. It's a motherfucker fighting for their life, nigga. Charged with a dying declaration cause this bitch ass, nigga. Said a nigga name on his deathbed, nigga. Whole cow, nigga. Whole pussy. No, fuck y'all out here listening to that shit, supporting that shit. Whole pussy, whole gang, bitch. Whole gang snitching, y'all be supporting that shit, y'all ass weird as hell. Oh yeah, Lil Wet, aha, bitch. Go water your dead nigga. Fuck you talking about.
Huh?
Bitch ass nigga. Came home, boy, all them innocent ass. All
niggas is wild.
Innocent people, boy. That's another thing, y'all ass be weird as hell. Them all innocent motherfuckers, man. Y'all be acting like a motherfucker that did some shit. Shut up. And the motherfucker ain't cried about none of them people. But probably they mamas, nigga.
Later that month, on February the 28th, 2021, KTS Dre goes live with Cairo once again, with Cairo accusing Dre of sneak dissing him on another page.
What up, lil' G?
What's up, little girl?
I see that they just sent me that page, but you and dude sneak dissing on me.
Who sneak dissing?
That you in that video, Goofy.
Man, I don't even think about niggas. You just said on the
I'm
live.
talking about that chick,
Bro,
that
it don't matter
that
what
free bed cash
look,
shit, man.
It don't matter what I say.
Why you always gotta talk over a motherfucker?
Listen,
you know we used to talk on the phone all the time.
I know, but look, you just said on live.
That's the fans on here for you ain't gotta do all that extra shit.
As things go on, Cairo accuses Dre of lying about him.
That's why niggas really used to talk on the phone. Nigga doing that live, you gonna think they
Cairo
cool.
wanting Dre to admit that he is known for much more than that, with Dre ultimately refusing to admit that he knows Cairo for anything gangster.
I'm trying to see why you lying on me though.
Alright, tell me a lie.
They just said you just said that that's the only shit I'm known for. I want you to stamp it on one of your homies. I ain't trying to be disrespectful, none of that shit.
I'm gonna put this on my homies on Cutthroat Gang, on the whole gang, every last one. I don't know none gangster shit, no gangster shit about you.
Why you just lie like that?
I personally don't know no gangster shit.
Dre goes on to accuse Cairo of lying about chasing Dre off the block.
You just said on live and told a nigga, let a nigga tell you ready to expose Goofy dude, man, how he be running and doing this, how he be running for y'all, how y'all used to chase him. When y'all ever chase me? Whoever chased me? Whoever chased me, bro? You from over east, fuck the internet, and the whole east side gonna hit us. Whoever chased me, nigga, on 79th. Or did niggas run from me? Or did niggas run from me?
You did get chased.
Who chased me?
You chased kid before and you got your ass.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I need some water, bro.
But listen though,
Ain't gonna be no cut, nigga, because I'm not paying for Premiere Pro, nigga. That shit is dead, so I'll be back.
So you not Superman, bro. On what you never ran from us, period. Stamp that. Put that on your brother. Anything you never ran from us.
ran from
in
you.
in those situations, you never ran from nobody from No Limit, folks.
Once Cairo tells Dre to swear on his brother's life that he never ran from No Limit, suddenly Dre gets agitated and begins to bring up Cairo's deceased friends.
Who you run? I said put it on your brother that you never ran from no nigga from No Limit.
Stop saying my brother. Stop saying my brother. You don't get to say you ain't.
I'm just saying. Well, I'm not.
But look, this what I'm saying. This what I'm saying.
Why you still ain't stamping yet? Why you still ain't
You
stamping?
put it on rock. I ever ran from you.
Put it on anybody that you never ran from.
Put it on one of your homies. I ever ran from you.
You ain't have to run from me.
Okay, put it on your homies. I ever ran from you. You got on live and said I be running from y'all all the time.
Why you going around this shit? Why you going around this shit?
Keep it real. I'm known for running. That's what I'm known for.
I'm just saying, why you saying you never ran from none of us, period?
Hey, look, I don't know who I ran from. You know, there been times I'd have been on 79th and little weird shit that happened. I probably did have to run, but not from an individual, not from you.
They would continue to go back and forth, with Dre insisting he had made No Limit run away from him unlimited times.
You ran a lot of times.
No, unlimited times is crazy.
Have I ever ran from you? Have you ran from me before?
Hell no.
On what?
I never ran from you.
Put that shit on.
I only seen you one time.
Never ran from me.
I only seen you
Damn.
one person. And that was that day, and I ain't even run that day.
Hey, you hear me? You lucky we on live. You ain't never ran from me.
Listen.
Hey, y'all ain't all ran from me at once. Hey, look. You ain't never ran from me a lot of times in your life. Like, y'all ain't never had to run a lot of times because of me. Like, all the time. Like, unlimited times. Like, come on,
listen. I'm finna ask you this question.
I ain't make niggas run.
No, listen.
Everybody run. So, like, who
hold on. Look.
The conversation ends with Cairo asking Dre one more time if Dre can admit that he has heard Cairo did something gangster to KTS.
So you never heard my name and no gangster shit with your homies, any of your homies? I want you to put it on any nigga.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Listen to me. No, folks. If you did anything, you got away with it, folks. We do not be thinking that, but we think you
on what?
Look, listen. We think you.
I'm finna get off. I'm finna get off. You just lied. You just stunning.
Apparently, this call had taken place whilst KTS Dre was still on house arrest for another charge where he'd apparently wrestled a cop for a gun after a traffic stop, with him apparently violating the conditions of his bond and being sent back for a gun whilst KTS.
I'm finna get out. You just lied. You just stunning.
Apparently, this call had taken place whilst KTS Dre was still on house arrest for another charge where he'd apparently wrestled a cop for a gun after a traffic stop, with him apparently violating the conditions of his bond and being sent back to the Cook County Jail in June. But within a month, Dre would be eligible for bail, and his girlfriend would post his bond on July the 10th, 2021. Dre would have to put up $5,000 and wear an ankle monitor as part of bail conditions. But unfortunately for Dre, he would never even make it home to serve his house arrest, because as he was leaving Cook County Jail after bailing out, he pulled up around 8:50 p.m. with two men said to have fired dozens of shots. A total of 64 shots would strike KTS Dre, real name Andre Sylvester, with him later being pronounced dead. After the murder, police were seen putting dozens of evidence markers around the scene, with the news of this brutal shooting once again making its way onto the TV news.
A man is dead after a shooting right in front of the Cook County Jail. Chicago police say a 31-year-old man and a 60-year-old woman were walking when two people got out of a car and fired shots, striking them both. The man suffered gunshot wounds to the face and chest and was pronounced dead at Mount Sinai. Footage from the scene shows several evidence markers placed on the street and near the sidewalk.
A man named Andre Sylvester was leaving the jail. He went by the rap name KTS Dre. He'd just been bailed out, and police say he was ambushed by two men who got out of a vehicle near the jail. Sylvester was shot as many as 64 times and pronounced dead at Mount Sinai.
In the aftermath of Dre's death, his sister would claim that somebody must have given his location.
You niggas was not his homies. Don't ever scream rip or long live my brother. Somebody gave his job. No way they knew when he was getting out and walking out. You motherfuckers are snakes. Ain't none of you niggas cutthroat. Fuck y'all.
Away. And his mother claimed that it was too.
It said I can't give my son a funeral, not because of money, because of lack of respect people had.
Dangerous to even hold a funeral for him. Naturally, they would fear rivals coming through and shooting the memorial up. Ironically, something that KTS members had allegedly done to their rivals from No Limit many years before. With that in mind, then, it's no surprise that following KTS Dre's death, No Limit members would mock him relentlessly. Cairo would initially pretend to mourn KTS Dre's.
Let me go in the house before somebody shoot at me. Niggas are crazy.
death, clowning on Instagram and pretending as if he was genuinely upset about the loss, playing emotional music over pictures of him smoking as if he was sad, with Cairo even going as far as to post DMs referring to the McDonald's incident, replying to people telling Dre to come and beat him up again. In fact, after KTS Dre's death, Cairo would frequently make light of the McDonald's incident in social media posts like this one from 2022, where he claimed to have made it out of McDonald's safe. Though to be fair, Cairo would come out soon after making all of these mocking posts to clear the air and say he's just being goofy and cracking jokes because Dre hurt his feelings all those years ago. Meanwhile, Lil Wet would post a facepalm emoji on IG, others would mock Dre for being shot 64 times, posting up that they're going to go and play Nintendo 64, whilst others would make posts suggesting that messing with...
Let me guess, y'all finna act like dude don't count either. Got my eyes be pressed. Where's that from? I heard that before. Is that a song? It's a Dirk song, I think. Play with no limit, that's a bad decision.
No Limit was a bad decision. Many said that they were smoking on Dre. Some posted pictures...
Hey!
...that messing with No Limit was a bad decision. Many said that they were smoking on Dre. Some posted pictures in tribute to Mad Max. EVK Juby celebrated with a big drink. NLMB Jock mocked him.
Bro,
While many on the
hold on, bro.
EVK Juby celebrated with a big drink. NLMB Jock.
Bro, fuck.
Mocked him. Meanwhile, many on the KTS side of the war would mourn their loss. Lil Art paid tribute, saying that his killers are
Yo! Is this his mans? Call this nigga a sack of shit.
are going to avenge Dre, and that he will see him soon. Ultimately, the death of KTS Dre represented the final chapter in a nearly 10-year-long feud that started the day that KTS Dre and Von confronted Cairo and the other No Limit members in McDonald's. With all of this in mind, many of the No Limit members' online behaviour following the death of KTS Dre can be seen as incredibly suspicious. Particularly No Limit Cairo, who after this incident would continue to spend literally hours live on social media arguing with his enemies, dropping into numerous Instagram live sessions with KTS Royale, who would later claim that Cairo killed KTS Dre, with Cairo quickly hanging up.
I don't even tote guns for real, so why you in your rap saying Cairo keep his blick on him? That shit sound police as fuck. I don't hang.
Who the fuck is
it?
it?
No Limit. What the fuck you want to see me with No Limit? Police for real.
That Cairo enemies would continue to spend literally hours live on social media arguing with his enemies, dropping into numerous Instagram live sessions with KTS Royale, who would later claim that Cairo killed KTS Dre, with Cairo quickly hanging up.
I don't even tote guns for real, so why you in your rap saying Cairo keep his blick on him? That shit sound police as fuck. I don't hang with, I'm not even No Limit. What the fuck you want to see me with No Limit for? Now you think I'm on your lap? I'm really cutthroat and deep down inside. Oh, I'm cutthroat because I cut niggas' stoves.
No, who told you cut? What you think you is? Killer or something?
Do you think I'm a killer, nigga?
No.
Hey, that's fucked up though. I know how to fight though. Don't let that no lack of shit fool you. If we want you, you would be got the mom, man.
Y'all hit the Snake Dre at the county.
Who? What?
And send a phone call through. You niggas.
Hey, I'm gone, man. Your ass.
Y'all hit to send a call. You niggas bitches.
While it's not definitively clear who was responsible for the killing of KTS Dre, what is clear is that this beef has escalated so much over the years that it was unlikely that KTS Dre would ever be able to live a long life in the city of Chicago. And while No Limit
Oh, they
members
look
would
like 3D
celebrate the death of
glasses.
KTS Dre like no other, sadly this would not represent the end of the war by a long shot. Because even if one of their most feared ops was off the street, there would still be an endless supply of enemies
I do
and their
not know how to
surviving
clean
relatives
these hoes.
gunning to kill and hurt members of the No Limit crew, with these deadly feuds unfortunately raging on to this very day.
Now this was recently,
the No
right?
Limit gang had been fighting numerous enemies on various fronts for decades, with two of the main conflicts ultimately seeing the most feared enemies from each area lose their lives. KTS Von and Dre from Lakeside had lost their lives 6 years apart, and Black Mob's most feared killer shooter Shells had also lost his life in the war, but No Limit themselves had also suffered heavy losses in the streets. The passing of their most feared shooter Mad Max was a devastating loss, and unfortunately the other war with their rivals from Pocket Town would heat up drastically in 2020.
Nigga, that is deep. What is? How do y'all know each other?
An enormous amount of bloodshed
Why is
being
this the most
witnessed as
replayed?
people on both sides would lose their lives back to back. A Pocket Town member by the name of Greasy, real name Eric Chapman Jr., would be killed in McKinley Park on the 1st of May 2020 at age 30. He was shot in the chest after an argument with another man around 2:30 AM. 2 months later, on July the 13th, 2020, a prominent Pocket Town and KTS member, KTS Rio, real name Lee DeMario Cameron, would be sitting in a car at a gas station on the 7000 block of South Damon Avenue when a silver SUV pulled up and somebody started shooting, with Rio later being pronounced dead in hospital. It was believed that the hit on KTS Rio was a personal revenge attack due to Rio allegedly killing a No Limit OG by the name of Boss Blizz back in 2011. The next death would come on September the 28th, 2020, when Pocket Town's K-Dog, real name Kevin Forbes, would be shot on the 6900 block of South Woodlawn Avenue, later being dropped off at St. Bernard Hospital with a gunshot to the head, with him being pronounced dead on arrival. Several other individuals would lose their lives from Pocket Town over the course of 2020, with threads on Reddit suggesting as many as 6 people would lose their lives in this period of only a few months. But in 2021 would come a devastating loss for No Limit, when a beloved friend of theirs that was supposedly out of the streets would lose their life as a result of this conflict. Gregory Jackson III, aka Lil Greg, was a member of NLMB and close friend of G Herbo. But on January the 28th, 2021, Greg would visit the Studio 19 barbershop at 1931 South State Street. Story has it that he would come face to face with a Pocket Town affiliate that he had a personal feud with at the barbershop. No confrontation took place there and then, as it said both individuals involved were not personally shooters, but each man would apparently call their respective group of friends to find out whether or not a move needed to be made. Ultimately, the other individual left and Greg remained in the barbershop, but he wouldn't be safe there. It was later reported that while sitting in the barber's, somebody would walk in and shoot him in the face. After Greg's death hit the news, the police would name him firmly as a friend of G Herbo and a member of the NLMB gang. Apparently, Greg was like a brother to G Herbo, with Herbo releasing a long heartfelt statement about the loss, as did other No Limit members like Mally. Greg clearly was plugged into the rap game because even 21 Savage posted him after his passing. This murder would hit G Herbo particularly hard, with Herb later admitting that it was this loss that sent him into a spiral of alcoholism.
What's some shit that when you sit by yourself, you just get depressed about, like?
Thinking about my little brother though, I ain't gonna lie right now. He passed away in January 28th. I'll be thinking about him a lot because that shit wasn't really for him. I ain't gonna lie, like sometimes I be feeling like a nigga did something to him just to hurt me. I don't know, I was drinking a lot. I went into like a slump, like real, like just emotional slump, just drinking all day, every day, going to the studio, drinking.
A Pocket Town affiliate would end up being linked to the vehicle used in the murder of Lil Greg, being arrested with a gun in the getaway car, but ultimately not being charged in connection with the murder. Interestingly, the gun used in this crime would end up being connected to 3 Navy SEALs who had been busted running a gun racket in Chicago for years, with the news later reporting that US soldiers in Kentucky were selling weapons across state lines to Pocket Town gang members who were using those guns to settle scores on the streets. In the aftermath of Lil Greg's death, Lil Don from Pocket Town would post to Instagram mocking his ops and suggesting that Lil Greg was the biggest scorer of 2021. But following this, what would appear to be a brutal revenge attack would take place. Clips circulated seeming to suggest that a memorial party was being held on K-Dog from Pocket Town's birthday, with many Pocket Town members said to be attending the party that took place on March the 26th, 2021. In what police would later describe as a mass shooting in Pocket Town, it's alleged that a number of people pulled up to the event on 2500 block West West 79th Street and begun shooting into the crowd indiscriminately as people were leaving the party. 8 people were shot, and the police claim to have recovered more than 100 shell casings from outside the venue. One individual believed to have been hit in the shooting was arrested in a car speeding to the hospital, with police finding a gun in slide lock, suggesting that all of the bullets in the clip had been fired recently, with later footage from a security camera being released, apparently showing Pocket Town members returning fire, but I can't show you that here. One witness, who was a Marine veteran, would tell the news that his experience of the scene was like something out of Desert Storm. Unfortunately, as a result of this shooting, Spook, real name Dante Thomas, would be killed by a gunshot to the head, being pronounced dead at the scene. Another Pocket Town affiliate by the name of Lord was shot in the head and taken to hospital in critical condition, later passing away, with another affiliate by the name of Denny G being shot in the stomach and later being seen on social media recovering in the hospital. No Limit members would celebrate following this tragic shootout. Some would publicly show love to Lil Greg after the incident, with Cairo apparently going on to call Pharaoh from No Limit the Savage of the Year, but that euphoria naturally would never last. It's said that retaliation would come soon after this, and in the aftermath, numerous shootings had been recorded in No Limit territory. It's claimed that eventually that other individual who Greg faced off with in the barbershop before being killed would eventually lose their life in a July 2022 shooting. Ultimately, this was just the latest in another long line of murders back and forth between these two crews. Clearly, there's been no love lost between these groups over the years, and the unfortunate truth is, it's really difficult to see the violence ever coming to an end, whilst those involved continue to escalate things on both sides. There really are no winners in the streets. The only thing even close to resembling a win is simply getting out with your life intact. G Herbo was lucky enough to do that, but in his own words, the trauma that he experienced on the street left him suffering from PTSD and addiction problems. It's truly hard to imagine what G Herbo or any of the No Limit soldiers went through over these decades-long wars. It's a uniquely tragic experience that very few people can truly say they identify with or relate to. But perhaps one of the most fascinating things to come out of this situation is the fact that several people mentioned throughout this story would sit down to do hours-long interviews, speaking their piece about everything that's gone down over the years. And in the final chapter of this story, we'll take a look at No Limit Cairo's explosive 2022 interview with 16 shot and visuals, where he finally broke down his true feelings about the war.
All the time I was watching this fucking video, I didn't notice this was that nigga.
Leaving nothing off the table, and clearly not scared to hurt a few feelings. Cairo from No Limit has been one of the most outspoken people involved in the deadly wars between the gangs hailing from Terrortown, but he also seems to have a sense of humour about it. On the 9th of February 2022, Cairo appears in a vlog alongside a man that he calls his lawyer, telling the viewers that he doesn't kill his ops, they just magically disappear.
We ain't no killers or nothing like that, but if a nigga fuck with us, they gon' magically disappear. We not no gangbangers.
This song is love.
Everybody who we was ever in tour with, they just magically disappeared. We didn't have shit to do with that. All us in this bitch, I'm a whole ass nigga. Everybody know that. All the ops. I'm a whole ass nigga. Everything we do is legal. We don't do no crime. You know, some people might see us called Crime Stoppers. We ain't did shit to nobody. We just look like gangbangers and stuff. I don't know why. Rock block shit. Fazoland shit too.
He also introduces Lil Wet to the camera, saying that he can't say much.
This the little Wet one. Y'all know the big Wet one. This the little one though. But he's still big one out here. I ain't gonna tell you. I can't say too much.
It's also worth noting that in this vlog, Cairo is in the studio with a G Herbo track playing in the background that he's mouthing along to, with Cairo at one point saying that these lyrics are real. Clearly at one point Cairo believed in G Herbo and his lyrics, but at some point that would all change. And in March 2022, the world would witness No Limit Cairo sitting down with 16 shot and visuals for a 2.5-hour tell-all interview. This was an incredible piece of Chicago history, and one of the very few times somebody from a gang war like this who isn't a rapper would speak so candidly, at length, on the events that had unfolded in the streets. And apparently, respected No Limit members Lil Wet and Pharaoh were in the room during this interview, with most people believing that this is an endorsement of the things Cairo said. Over the course of this interview, Cairo spoke with incredible introspection on feeling like a lost soul who was badly influenced by the older people in his neighborhood, saying that he was smoking and drinking since age 5 and that Terrortown was an awful place to grow up.
You know, I used to be smoking and drinking and shit when I was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm a lost soul, fuck. You know, the older guys, they fucked me up in the head. That's why niggas be saying shit like, shit called Tear Town and shit like that. Cause niggas used to cause terror and shit.
Cairo also gave an interesting insight into how hard it is for kids in the neighborhood to escape the cycle of violence, saying neighborhood kids' disputes would follow them all the way to school and back home, meaning that in the end they would eventually be safer dropping out of education and just staying on their block.
This gang shit, folks, like that shit for the niggas at school. You going to school trying to get your education, motherfucker, come put your brain on the book. That school shit, motherfucker, that shit'll follow you there. At church, that shit'll follow you there. All the places you feel safe, that shit'll follow you. That shit'll follow you home. And the street shit.
At one point, 16 Shots asks Cairo if he's considered breaking the cycle, telling his youngers that they don't need to participate in the war or gangbanging. To which Cairo says that's exactly what he did, yet here they are with him, gangbanging, and making a choice to ride with the gang.
I told y'all that before now, and I said, man, don't be in this shit. They right here with me right now, gangbanging. These people right here gangbanging, they didn't listen. Cause that's their choice before they grown.
But most explosively in this interview, Cairo would have some choice words for G Herbo, initially explaining that the reason he doesn't rap is because he doesn't know how to pretend and he believes that most rappers lie.
Nah, I never made no song. I don't know how to pretend. It's only like 10% niggas out here telling the truth in their raps. All the rest of that shit, entertainment.
Cairo would go on to say that he was offended by rappers making money off the streets, but not living it, suggesting that many rappers simply steal other people's life stories.
Making money off shit that other niggas to risk their life for. He rapping, but he ain't out here killing shit, sliding, none of that shit. But his homie them out here sliding and shit. Now he get in the booth. Now motherfucker be going overboard.
And it would eventually become crystal clear that Cairo was talking about G Herbo, with him openly putting dirt on Herbo's reputation and suggesting that he was never
I wasn't never close with her. He wasn't never coming outside. I asked him what he was. He said, I'm no limit. I said, how the fuck you no limit? I'm really no limit. You ain't never been on my block. Where the fuck you from?
Ultimately, Cairo would say that he loves that Herbo made it out of Terrortown and became a millionaire. But he says that he isn't proud of G Herbo not coming back and helping the people who were there with him in the early days.
I love him for making this shit, but I ain't proud of him for not doing shit for the niggas around him. Who was around him before he made it.
Cairo would go on to say that a lot of people get success and forget about their past, and that Herbo is one of those people.
A lot of niggas get on and forget that shit. Niggas like her.
Cairo would eventually elaborate that he's not just looking for a handout, and that he was really upset about the fact that G Herbo would regularly promise specific things to the crew and then let them down.
Her say, man, I got the 150 Dream Team label. I'm finna sign like 3-4 y'all. Folks reneged on the guys. Never signed them.
Cairo would accuse Herbo of promising No Limit members bail money and then reneging.
Man, we need folks short 5,000 on his bond. Motherfucker saying goofy shit. Fuck, he get locked up for.
Cairo would also accuse Herbo of rapping about their dead friends for clout, going as far as to suggest that Herbo only met Vito once.
Majority of the niggas who died, he know them niggas. A lot of niggas he be rapping about, all the older guys, he don't know them. He big, I don't even know if he know Vito for real. His dad probably seen bro once. You see your big cousin, I'm talking to Fazo and them, and you like, oh yeah, Fazo, what's up, big bro? He on shit like that, like you don't even know Fazo all the way probably.
Cairo would then go on to quote G Herbo's own lyrics, where he claimed he would take Lil Wet to Egypt if he beat the 4 murder charges, with Cairo dramatically proclaiming that Lil Wet has still not left Chicago.
He said my little cousin in the county fight quadruple bodies. When he come home, when he beat this shit, we going to Egypt. Bro ain't went to Egypt yet. Bro beat his shit, he is shot right.
As the conversation went on, Cairo proceeded to rip G Herbo for not living the lifestyle other No Limit members lived, even going as far as to compare him to 6ix9ine.
I know four of them don't fuck with him cause he do weird shit and don't do shit for his block. He say all type of shit he don't do. I compare him to 6ix9ine, fuck. He wanted to join Treyway.
In response to questions over whether or not he could ever fix things with Herbo, Cairo said outright no, saying that it's too late and too many people have died without Herbo coming back to help.
If a nigga will let 10 of your niggas die after they get on, and then knowing they was just right here with us, I feel like you never gave a fuck for like, cause you was just right here ducking shots and shit with us too. But ain't shit he could do cause it's like, you waited too long. We can't even enjoy this shit, all our niggas dead.
Cairo went on to point out how hurt he was when he heard lyrics on Herb's song Riding With It, where Herb appeared to say that he wouldn't die for his block because other people had already died for it.
I love my hood, you think I'm die for that shit? All them niggas already died for that shit. How the fuck you gonna say that shit about your homies for them? That nigga said candle lights, niggas out there sneak this and don't be crying and shit. You know we out here fucked up, Dan. You putting this shit in rap, shitting on us.
And towards the end of the interview, Cairo even opened up about his appearance in the No Lacking 3 video at McDonald's, with Cairo breaking down that situation in great detail. I won't do it here, but I definitely suggest you go and give it a watch. But towards the end of the interview, Cairo would come out with yet another quotable, saying that the No Limit gang never killed anybody, but that God killed them.
Niggas that we never killed, no nigga, God killed them.
Cairo's frank discussion of G Herbo taking stories from real gangsters ruffled a lot of feathers. Some people, like Lil Reese, came out to defend G Herbo, whilst others pointed out the fairly reasonable counter-argument that Cairo or the rest of No Limit really shouldn't be relying on the generosity of one man for their survival and prosperity, suggesting that they can't wait for G Herbo to put them on, they should put themselves on. Ultimately, both sides have valid points, and perhaps there's a much wider observation to be made. That G Herbo, who was already facing several legal cases, including a large currently unresolved fraud case, should absolutely not be giving money or opportunities to documented gang members. Realistically, it only takes a few misguided messages or recorded phone calls with the wrong people to have Herbo tied up in a racketeering case with the whole gang relating to all of the crimes and killings they have potentially done, which ultimately would completely blow this entire career that Herbo had spent years working on in order to get out of the cycle of violence. But at the end of the day, Cairo had made his thoughts known and spoken his truth to the world. Some people might look at G Herbo differently, while others might look at Cairo differently. This was a blockbuster interview that went incredibly viral, and off the back of it, Cairo would capitalize on his newly increased profile, continuing to release vlogs filmed on his block, once again coming out with tongue-in-cheek quotables where he claims No Limit do not kill people.
Be advised, man, we don't kill people, we don't rob people. We just out chilling.
I'm just young, trying to live my life.
That's my 290, homie.
Anything can happen. Anywhere.
That's the motto.
Fuck all our enemies, man. Them niggas ain't no shit.
People want to see this shit. I don't know why. I'm a regular guy. Why the fuck y'all want to see me? Why? I don't know.
He'd show his crew hanging out on the block riding bikes, with everyone apparently comfortable outside because their ops ain't gonna do nothing.
And we out here riding motorcycles and shit because niggas ain't gonna do shit. No.
But of course, if there were any ops watching, Cairo reminded them once again that if you mess with them, God will kill you.
One of us, you might just disappear. God take you off earth. I mean, you know, God, no big deal. He blessed you.
You see, folk done picked up on that God shit. God be the one out here killing people. They told me God just bought a switch. He just hang that bitch down here.
A man is dead after a shooting right in front of the Cook County Jail. The man suffered gunshot wounds to the face and chest and was pronounced dead at Mount Sinai.
Oh, they just killed a whole bunch of kids up today.
Police say he was ambushed by two men who got out of a vehicle near the jail. Sylvester was shot as many as 64 times and pronounced dead at Mount Sinai.
He was a 21-year-old man, shot a number of times. He was dead when police arrived, and he was out there this morning for a little bit while investigators taped off the scene.
They just laying there on the street. They've been out here for almost 4 hours. 4 hours. How do you lay a kid on the ground?
It was one of more than a dozen murders the first weekend in August.
Police say the quadruple murders outside this South Shore restaurant were a planned execution in retaliation for the murder of Maurice Harris's father.
Harris is only 19 years old, and while his juvenile record is protected, one commander says the system failed him.
I'll just be completely honest, this story is one of the most shocking things that I've ever covered. This is by far the most violent story that I have ever covered on this channel. And honestly, I was just blown away by the sheer brutality on display in the streets of Terrortown. I'm not going to pretend like there's something that I can do or say to make these decades-long and bitter feuds any better. All I hope is that this long and detailed piece can give you a better understanding of why things are the way they are in America's most dangerous places. Dozens of young men lost their lives as a result of this gang war, and it's hard not to feel that in many ways it was really all for nothing. Every killing can be traced back to an earlier incident where somebody else was wronged or killed, leaving behind another person with a lifelong vendetta that they're willing to kill to settle. I can't pretend to relate. I don't know what it's like to grow up losing friends and knowing the people who killed them are only a few blocks away. I don't know what it's like to be consumed by hate, grief, and revenge day in, day out. But what I do know is that not everybody who makes that decision to pick up a gun and kill an op is doing it with a clear head. I'm really not making excuses, but if we as a society ever want to make things better in communities torn apart by gang violence, then we have to have some empathy and focus on the real causes of these problems. As Cairo said himself, you've got kids as young as 5 being given liquor, drugs, and guns. Many of these young men like Fazo and Mad Max lost their parental figures in horrible ways before they were even old enough to know right from wrong. They might have done terrible things in their lives, but how is it fair to expect those young men to grow up and do the right thing when all they were ever taught was being wronged? By the ops, by the police, by wider society. Sadly, the violence in Terrortown continues to this very day, and I've got to say it was incredibly disheartening during the course of writing this video to keep seeing news breaking of numerous new people losing their lives in relation to this war. That really drove home to me just how endless this cycle is. To me, Cairo's interview was poignant, not just for his insights into the realities of gang life. Looking past him being upset that G Herbo sold him and the gang a dream, I think it's important to look at how Cairo's story differs from G Herbo's, because it highlights the wider problem. There's really not a lot of hope in the streets, and if your only hope for getting out is that someone else on your block becomes a rapper, blows up and comes back to help, then you'll be disappointed. And realistically, Herbo simply can't be back in the hood giving chains to his killers, because if he did, he would be putting his life and his livelihood in danger. And sadly, when it comes to the streets, it seems that the exit door goes only one way. Another person who I barely mentioned in this story is the brother of G Fazo, Fabian, who would leave Terrortown after the devastating murder of his brother, choosing instead to focus on basketball and going on to have an illustrious professional career playing outside of the United States. He made a choice and got out too, just like G Herbo, but maybe attracting a little bit less attention. And while I respect Cairo's decision to remain solid and never leave his brothers, ultimately for some people, they do just have to leave to survive. And I don't believe that's a decision anyone else can pass judgment on. I just hope that many more of the next generation of young men in Terrortown grow up and make that decision. I pray for everybody who lost their life as part of this story, and for everybody still risking their lives in the dangerous streets of this world. I truly hope you make it out. Thank you for watching this video, and rest in peace to everyone who lost their lives.
Great fucking video, man. Hey, shout out that nigga Trap Lord Ross, man. Hey, if y'all like this video, enjoy the video, whatever, like, comment, subscribe. I don't know what the fuck else I'm gonna react to. I'm gonna find something, but I don't know what. But that's the end of this video, y'all. If y'all got any fucking suggestions, let me know in the comments. Y'all go follow the Twitch. Fuck every other social media up there. Follow the Twitch. I don't care about none of that other shit. But that's it for this video. Peace.